Hi everybody. So I thought I would share my cancer story with you today since this is thriving after cancer and sepsis. So come on along and join me and I'll share my story with you. Hi everybody. I'm Linda and this is Thriving Every Day with Linda. I am glad that you decided to come and listen to my cancer story. I know everybody that's had cancer or knows somebody has a story, and everybody's story is different. Of course, because every person is different. So I just thought I would share mine with you today so you can kind of know a little bit of my background and why we're here. So it was almost exactly 4 years ago. I went in to see my ENT, my ear, nose, and throat doctor. Routine visit for me every spring when the allergies hit. My allergies settle right into my ears. And so pretty much every year I head in to see my ENT and get my ears cleaned out so I can hear. And very routine. No big deal. So I went in, and as he's talking to me, he's feeling my throat and my glands, which he always did, and we're just chatting about, I don't know, life, whatever doctors and patients chat about. And he pauses and he's like, I think I need to check into this. You have some lumps on your thyroid. I was like, okay, whatever. So he proceeds, he cleans out my ears, and then I'm out. I'm good to go. But he's not. So he says, I really want to look at these again. And he does another check, another palpitation check. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, he feels them again. And he's like, I really think that we need to biopsy these and check it out. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I, of course, am thinking, okay, we'll set that appointment later. But in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I don't have cancer. I don't want cancer. No. So he comes back in the room. I thought he had just gone out to get, the end of appointment paperwork. And no, he has a biopsy kit. So he proceeded to biopsy 6 spots that he could feel on my thyroid. And I just didn't even know. I was not prepared at all for that. So I leave the appointment and I go and I sit out in my car outside in the parking lot, and I call my husband, who didn't even know I had a doctor's appointment because he didn't need to know. Again, routine. He just would know that when he came home that night that I could hear him talking again, and he would know that I went and had my ears cleaned out. So I called him, and I didn't even know what to say to him. I said that the doctor had just done some biopsies for cancer. And we talked about it for a little bit because he was at work and I needed to head home to get on with my day. And, we decided that everything would be fine. It would all be good. If it was cancer, we would, meet it head on together. So I went home, kind of put it out of my mind because I was in denial. There's no way that I have cancer. 2 days later, I get a call from my ENT, and he says that I do have cancer, thyroid cancer, and that it is the good kind of cancer. Now, 4 years later, I understand his statement that it was the good cancer. But at the time, in my mind, I'm like, cancer's not good. There is no good cancer. There is no easy way to tell somebody they have cancer. And so I appreciate where he was coming from. He was trying to help me understand that this was not a death sentence. It's thyroid cancer. So my husband and I talked about it, and I still was like, nah, I mean, I know biopsies are like the best way to detect cancer. And I know now that there's no way that a biopsy would have come back, especially 6 of them on 6 different spots, come back a false positive. However, I did want a second opinion. My husband suggested a second opinion, and I agreed. I thought, okay, let's get a second opinion, see what we're really dealing with here, what can be done. So at the time, I had a friend who was going through cancer as well. Her diagnosis right at the beginning was she was in end stage right when they caught it, a different kind of cancer, not thyroid cancer. And so I went to her because she had all kinds of doctors, because she had cancer in her lungs and her brain and everywhere. She had cancer everywhere. It had spread before they even found it. So I went to her and I said, do you have a thyroid doctor that you would recommend? And so she did. And I went to this amazing doctor here in Austin who all she does is thyroid. And she got me in super quick when I mentioned to her receptionist that I had just been diagnosed with cancer. She was great, got me in quick to check things out. Her original diagnosis was the same as my ENT. She agreed, definitely cancer, just by doing an ultrasound on my neck and checking things out. But also during that ultrasound, she found that it had spread to the lymph nodes in the left side of my neck. That's when thyroid cancer gets a little tricky. Still treatable, but it meant that I had had it for quite a while because it is slow growing. And so it's slow to spread, which makes it a good cancer. I still don't believe there is such a thing as good cancer, but it's easier to treat. And if you catch it early enough, then you just move on with your life. You remove the cancer, you remove the thyroid, whatever needs to be done. So personally, at the time, we had a once-in-a-lifetime trip planned and had it planned for almost a year. And so when I talked to the thyroid doctor, I told her this, and I said, I really want to go on this trip. And if I can't go on this trip, then I need to know so that I can cancel it and we can get some of our money back, and kind of make different plans. It wasn't a deal breaker. Of course, my health is more important than a once-in-a-lifetime trip, but I really wanted to go. It was really a cool trip. So talked to her and she's like, yeah, we'll see what we can do. She says, I'm booked, but let me see what we can do. So she did find a hole in her schedule, and I had surgery just a couple weeks after diagnosis, which is good. Gives me personally less time to back out of things, which my husband would never have allowed me to back out. Still in huge denial that I had cancer. Huge. I think I still get in denial that I had cancer. So she went in And the surgery, she spent 6 hours removing my thyroid, checking all the lymph nodes in my neck to make sure that she got every single speck of cancer that she could see. So when she got in there, she did discover that the cancer had also spread to the lymph nodes behind my thyroid. So it was good that we had opted for a complete thyroid removal, which I also didn't want because thyroid is a little important. It manages a lot of things that are very important for your body. So anyway, so she took out over 100 lymph nodes and found cancer in, I can't remember, anyway, a percentage of them. Not a significant percentage. It was under 50% of them. I can't remember what now. Anyway, so I'm very grateful that she took the time. 6 hours she stood and looked in and around my throat. Very grateful. So she was confident at the end that she had gotten all my cancer, which is good. One parathyroid was caught up in the lymph nodes. Parathyroids, those are a thing. I didn't even know. I didn't even know there were such a things as parathyroids. They're a little important, but they do, if one is lost, the others will take up the slack. So that's good. So recovery went okay. I still had the trip planned, which was exactly 1 month to the day of my surgery. My surgeon assured me that I'd be able to do the trip. I may have to take some precautions and not do everything. I needed to listen to my body. I couldn't carry anything, which meant my husband had to carry our bags, all of our bags. So we tried to pack light, but it was a 2-week overseas trip. So, needed quite a bit of stuff. So anyway, back to the surgery. So my recovery went okay. So the parathyroid and your thyroid manage your calcium and D and B in your body. So after surgery, I was on mega doses of calcium D and B12 because I had lost one parathyroid and the other parathyroids were in shock. So in order to keep my heart from being affected, which calcium regulates your heart muscle, I had no idea calcium was so important for anything other than your bones. So I was on mega doses to make sure that I kept the levels of calcium and D and B that I needed. So I came home, 6-hour surgery, a little sluggish, a little whatever, and was recuperating fine. But then I started throwing up and just violently ill. Downstairs on the couch, you'll find that I spent a lot of time downstairs on my couch, but because it was close to a bathroom and no stairs. So I was just violently ill. And a couple days into being so sick, my husband called my surgeon and she said she probably just caught a bug, and because she is recuperating from surgery, it's gotten kind of severe. So So just make sure that she stays hydrated and she'll be okay. So Gatorade and water was my friend. I drank as much as I could and tried to stay hydrated. However, the nausea and illness didn't subside. So a couple days later, again, my husband called my surgeon and said, I really think something's wrong. I wasn't doing well. And the surgeon said, okay, sure. She's probably gotten dehydrated. Let's, take her into the ER and give her a couple pints of IV fluids and help her, in that way. And she'll be fine. She'll bounce back quickly after that. So I went into the ER that's super close to our house, and they, hooked me up with the fluids and then did blood work like they do, and discovered that I was actually overdosing on calcium, and I had too much. So crazy. Everybody, my doctors at the ER and my thyroid surgeon agreed that this is very rare, very rare. Usually you have to be cautious that you don't go too low on your calcium levels. So I spent the next week in the hospital trying to get my calcium levels regulated so that I could go home. So now we're 3 weeks out from this trip and I'm getting really nervous. I'm super not confident because I'm weak from recuperating. But it worked out. Luckily, I just spent those 3 weeks just recuperating. My calcium levels behaved themselves. They liked the over-counter doses that I was taking and not the mega doses, so I was good to go there. So we went on our once-in-a-lifetime trip, which was amazing. I'm so grateful. Now, I didn't get to do everything that we had planned, and my husband did have to carry our bags. But again, thrilled that I got to go. So post-surgery, thyroid surgery, you do have to do radiation. So thyroid cancer radiation is different than any other cancer radiation. You have this little pill that you take that is radioactive. Huge funny story. So you do this, let's see, I had my surgery in May and I did the radiation therapy in December. So that's how far apart you need to wait. It gives your body time to recuperate completely, and then you're strong enough to undergo this radiation treatment. I often wondered and still wonder why I couldn't just do the radiation treatment instead of the surgery. But the powers that know and everything say that it doesn't work that way. So what the radiation treatment does is it kills off any thyroid cancer cells that might be hiding that the surgeon didn't find. Even though she was very confident and all subsequent tests showed that there was no cancer left, we still did this because of the kind of cancer that I had. Because it had spread, it had metastasized, then they wanted to just be sure. They don't want it sitting around growing. So, and I agree. I don't want cancer sitting in my body growing. That's no good. So anyway, so it's this little tiny pill. I had to go downtown Austin to the nuclear medicine place, and they have all these signs and everything warning about radioactivity and everything. And the technician, so my husband came with me, and the technician, she comes in, she tells me all the protocols that I have to take. I can't be near anybody at all for, I think it was a week. And then for 3 months after that, I have to act like I have the flu, which included masks, which was pre-pandemic. So, somebody walking around with a mask, you look a little odd at that time. Now it'd be no big deal. I couldn't have, there was a dietary restrictions and stuff like this. I had to use my own bathroom. I had to stay away from plants and pets, everything. So we had that all set up, and she just went over all the protocol. And then she left, and she came in with this canister. It's like probably about like this, lead canister. And she set it down next to me, and she says, okay, I'm going to leave the room. Your husband's going to leave the room. And after we've left, then you open this canister, and inside it will be another canister, and inside that will be the pill. You take that pill and you immediately leave the building. Your husband cannot even drive home with you. Do not be on the same elevator or anything. I was freaking out. I was like going, oh my gosh, what the heck? And my husband was freaking out, and he's like, okay. So we had taken 2 cars down because they had told us that to begin with, that he wouldn't be able to drive back with me. So they leave the room. I open this canister, take this pill, and I am immediately radioactive. Anybody that comes near me is at risk of having radioactivity becoming anyway. And I'm like, I just took this. What is it going to do to me? It was crazy. So I spent the next week quarantined in my bedroom, in a separate bedroom from my husband. Gratefully, we have a house that lent itself to that. Our kids had already moved out, so I had my daughter's room and the bathroom that the kids had shared on that side of the house. So luckily we had that. So then I'm good. The only thing is I have swollen neck over here that I can feel occasionally gets super tight, and none of my doctors can agree as to what it is. So they all do agree that it's not life-threatening or anything. So it's just, I like to refer to it as my lizard in heat neck. And I have a scar up this side of my neck because the surgeon did she cut from behind my ear clear over to here and just laid it open so that she could remove all the lymph nodes. So other than that, I'm good. I'm 4 years out from diagnosis. Every 6 months I get ultrasounds from either my endocrinologist or I still see my thyroid doctor. I think I have only one more appointment with her, maybe 2. And then I will go to just yearly scans, and I will have yearly scans for the rest of my life after my 5-year mark, which then I will be considered a cancer survivor, which is great. I don't think that I have any risk of the cancer coming back. I had an amazing thyroid surgeon and did the radioactive pill, and it's all good. So that's my cancer story. It's crazy. I had a friend recently who I haven't seen in a while comment how lucky I was that I had taken care of my body before my cancer diagnosis, and then of course my sepsis. She said, and I thought about it, and I thought, yeah, I exercised regularly every day. I had green smoothies. I didn't eat a lot of sugar, refined sugars, that kind of thing. And I am grateful because I'm sure that had that played a part in my recovery. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm doing well. Still just plugging along, trying to do the things. So I would love to hear your cancer story. If you want to share it with me, please post it below. And be sure to subscribe as well as I go along this journey of just thriving every day after cancer and sepsis. I hope y'all have a great day. Talk to you soon.